Hi there, welcome back. I'm Lee Sharon, and this is the garlic at Old Tavern Farm. Today is the day. See that right there? That little wiggly waggly bud sticking up right there? That's my telltale. Remember back a few weeks ago, I showed you the first look at this year's vegetable garden. Well, I included the garlic too. And if you remember, I showed you the garlic scapes. Remember those little curly Q buds that were coming out of the plant? And I was snipping those off and making pesto out of it, which has been fabulous. And I left one so that when it went straight, which it's doing right now, that is the time to harvest the garlic. Okay, so I have 155 plants in my silo bed right here. Also, I said you need to check at the base of the plant to see if the bottom few leaves were starting to turn brown. That is the time to harvest your garlic. Okay, so that is also happening, and it's also happening at the tip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trusty potato fork, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to lift the garlic up out of its position. Now I have to be careful because this garlic this year is planted really close together. The problem is if you yank it out by the stalk, you can damage the area between the roots and the cloves, and that is a key part of storage. So I want to keep this garlic in my root cellar for the year's use. And I also want to harvest some of this garlic for seed garlic for next year. So I have to be careful when I am lifting it out of the ground. Keep all those roots together, and then once it's dry, you can go back and shake all the dirt off. I'll do a video on that too. If you don't have a fork or a potato fork or any kind of sort of device like this, you can go in and with a hand trowel and just kind of gently lift them up. But I have a lot to do, so I've got a lot of other things to do today too, so it can't take me all day to harvest my garlic. And then once I pull it out, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. But that is how to tell when your garlic is ready to harvest. I could harvest anytime between now and maybe a week from now, but I really wouldn't want to go too much further than that because, you know, right now is really when the cloves of garlic are the most sort of juicy and full of flavor and healthy and all that stuff that I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest a few of these plants so that you can see how to cure it once you get it out of the ground. And so you can have your own store of self-sufficient garlic for you and your family's use for the next year, at least, depending on how much you use garlic. And I use a lot of it, so I need a lot of it. Okay, let's go get to work. This sometimes happens. It's okay. But look at the size of that bulb. That is beautiful. Let's try another one. So as you can see, the bottom leaves are kind of in a, there's some that are green and some that are brown like this. But I planted these all at the same time, and this bud is telling me it's time to harvest. The problem with this bed is that there's a lot of weeds, and these chives right here are going gangbusters this year. So sometimes if you're really packed tight with weed pressure, your leaves aren't going to be quite as brown. I'm probably really pushing the amount of garlic that I should really have in this bed. So just, you know what, just don't overthink it. Just enjoy the process and get in there and get these guys out so they can start curing for the summer, for the rest of the summer. There's another beauty, size of my palm. Okay. This is not elephant garlic. This is a hardneck variety. I don't know the name of it because I got the original seed from my co-op. So it didn't have a label on it as far as the variety, but sometimes that's not important. It's just important to get the garlic itself and get it stored. I really prefer a hardneck variety. And the reason I prefer a hardneck variety is just because I don't like the tiny little smaller cloves that the softneck varieties tend to present. Okay, I have harvested about a quarter of my garlic crop, and I did leave about 3/4 of it out there because it was so thickly packed in garlic and weeds that the lower leaves were not brown. So I decided to leave those to get some more sunlight for a couple of days. But this is enough for me to get started with. This is about 50 pounds of garlic. So what I'm gonna do is I've got this, you can see, I've got this big potting bench here that I'm just gonna lay them out on. So what curing does is, curing just simply gets it ready, gets the garlic ready for storage. Okay, so this is gonna be garlic that I am going to store in my root cellar. And so I'm just gonna leave the dirt and everything on the garlic, and I'm just gonna lay it on my potting bench right here. Some people hang their garlic, but I don't really have the space to hang. I mean, I do have the space, but it's kind of a tall ceiling here. So I have this big gigantic workbench here that came with the house when we moved here. So I'm just gonna use this. This is what I used last year. It worked perfectly. And so once they get dried, I do bundle them together and just kind of hang them loosely for several weeks just to get super dry before I put them in my stone cellar. So I'm just gonna lay them out in a single level on this bench, and I'll show you what that looks like until the tops that are green, you can see the tops are green, till these start to turn this kind of brown color, and they almost look like broom straw. Okay, so and at that point I'm gonna take, like, some of these did get damaged when the fork went through them. I'll just use these for my next year's seed supply. So I'll take about a quarter of this harvest and I will save it for seed for next year. So basically I am self-sufficient in garlic for as long as I choose to grow or want garlic. So it's just a great system. So you don't have to get your garlic from California or wherever they're growing it, China, goodness me, I don't know, wherever people get garlic. You can just grow it yourself. So you guys know I plant this in the first couple weeks of November, depending on the year. So if it's really cold, you want to wait till the weeds kind of stop growing, and you don't want this to sprout in the fall. You just want to plant each little individual garlic I top dressed with chicken poo last year and it worked great. And then it just comes up in the spring like any other bulb. And then you just wait till it's ready to harvest and you got a harvest of garlic. So you want to bring this in and get it somewhere that's out of the sun, okay? Same way you cure onions, the same way you cure potatoes, it's the same idea. So you're just getting these guys ready to have like a papery covering on them, and then they're completely fine. I had enough last year, I put away enough last year to last really until about 2 weeks ago. So it's easily a year's worth, and I might even sell some this year. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this laid out. I'll show you what it looks like, and then I'm gonna go finish some other chores. It's like nonstop this time of year. So I got wood to move, I've got weeding to do, I've got stalls to clean, and water buckets to fill, the usual. So anyway, as you watch me lay this stuff out, I want to thank you so much for visiting. And I want to really thank you guys for sharing my videos again, because subscribers keep piling up and I'm super grateful for all of you guys. Every single one of you, you newcomers, you old timers, every single one. And I do appreciate all the sweet comments and kindness that everybody shows me. Excuse me. So without further ado, I'm going to get this laid out so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to leave it here again till the tops turn brown, they start to dry out, and then I'm going to start the next round with the rest of the garlic that is still out in the garden. All right, thank you for visiting. Until next time, bye-bye.